Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. And today with yes, one of the most famous carrier-borne fighters of World War II. Certainly the best known from the American side, the Grumman F6F Hellcat. Now again, this is, as said, just an icon of the Pacific War of World War II. It's basically the Allied counterpart to the Japanese Navy A6M-0, and the Zero and the Hellcat are arguably the most well-known aircraft of the Pacific War. Now, while it's often said that the Hellcat was designed specifically to counter the Japanese Navy A6M, the traces of the roots of the Hellcat trace back to 1938 actually, so well before World War II even started for the Americans. By that time, Grumman had already started development of a successor to the venerable F4F Wildcat. Now you have to know that Grumman, before World War II, during World War II, and also for a long time after World War II, had a very good relation with the US Navy. They had designed some of the most important Navy aircraft of all time during the propeller age. Examples, of course, include the very famous Cat series, to which the F6F belongs to, the Wildcat, Hellcat, the twin-engined heavy fighter Tiger Cat, and in the end, which would culminate in the very, very famous F-14 Tomcat. Now, again, in order to understand the F6F, we need to take a look at its predecessor, the F4F. And I know I'm looking at here in the British tree. Of course, it's an American aircraft, but Hellcat's also available in the British tree as a premium and on the French tree. But let's take a look at the Wildcat. Now, the Wildcat is an interesting aircraft. It looks a little bit derpy, if you ask me. It certainly is one of the most important aircraft of the US Navy of World War II, stemming basically this was the fighter that the Americans relied on in the early days of World War II. And the origins of the F4F trace back to a biplane. If you, I don't want to say you could say it because it's not entirely true, but the F4F was basically developed out of a biplane, and it shows a little bit. I mean, you could easily imagine this thing with some struts and another wing on top of it. But the Wildcat, when it first arrived, was a decent aircraft, and it would perform admirably against the A6M-0, despite it being, I don't want to say hopelessly outclassed, but if you look at its stats, you can see that the Wildcat certainly is at a disadvantage against the A6M. However, this was a very good aircraft in its own respect. It was durable, it was very reliable, it was maneuverable. The fact that it said that it could compete with the Zero is just because of the fact that the Zero is just exceptionally maneuverable. Against many other aircraft today, the F4F would have easily outturned them. And it had very docile flying characteristics. However, again, against the A6M in 1942, while it did perform admirably thanks to American pilots getting better and better, it still was, in a 1 versus 1, on paper it is rather outclassed by the A6M. Now, work on the successor had already started in 1938. Initially, the aircraft was to be powered by an R2600, a 1700 horsepower radial engine. A radial engine we know from the Grumman TBF Avenger. You see, Grumman not only was famous for its carrier fighters, also for its torpedo bombers. like the as we said, like the Grumman Avenger, which would become the most important torpedo bomber for the US Navy during World War II. Whew. The very first prototype Hellcat was powered by the R2600, and the results were decent, but not what the Navy wanted. They wanted something more powerful. Instead, the second prototype was fitted with an R2800. This is the same engine that was used on the P-47 Thunderbolt, and would also power the F4U Corsair, which, funnily enough, is actually an older plane than the Corsair, than the Hellcat. Yes, despite its introduction rather late in the war, the F4U actually precedes the Hellcat. The reason for that is that the F4U had constant problems during its development, especially since it was intended to be a carrier-borne fighter, and it just did not handle well. It was deemed unacceptable for carrier operations and was relegated to, at first at least, to land-based units with the US Marine Corps. The Hellcat, on the other hand, was much better handling and much better for carrier operations. This is why it would eventually take the lead and become the Navy's standard carrier-borne fighter aircraft during the Pacific War. If we skipped ahead a little bit, back to the engine. Yes, the R2800. This is an 18-cylinder engine producing some whopping 2,000 horsepower. So the new aircraft certainly now had the expected performance. One thing you need to know about the Hellcat, especially those who have built this thing as a model kit, this is a huge bird. It's as wide as a P-47. This is really a ginormous aircraft. It's big and it's heavy, but it has a very powerful engine. One thing the earlier Wildcat lacked compared to Zero was engine power. It was slower, and both in the horizontal and in the vertical, it could not maneuver with the Zero. One thing it could dive better. But in terms of acceleration, climb rate, maneuverability, it wasn't just not enough. Now, when the development of the Hellcat went further, reports from Wildcat pilots were coming in back to Grumman. And Grumman took these reports to heart. They designed the new aircraft, or improved the new aircraft, around the pilots' wishes. These were basically an aircraft with the same ruggedness as the F4F, but with more engine power, better armament, of course a higher speed, and better flexibility during dogfights. Now, as we stated, this would result in an aircraft that was rather big and heavy. The engine was a lot bigger, again an 18-cylinder radial, with quite a lot of power. It was extensively armored. If you look at the in-game viewer here, we see both the cowling and the cockpit are armed with various steel plates and also a big bulletproof glass. This made the Hellcat a very tough and survivable airframe. It was also solid construction and, unlike the Zero, had self-sealing fuel tanks. One thing the aircraft lacked compared to its predecessor, however, was range, since the new R2800 was a less fuel-efficient engine than the, what was it? I think the Wright 1830 or 1820, I always confused the two on the Wildcat. I think it was the Cyclone engine. Yeah. God, I hope I'm true on that. I mean, I could just check. Let's do that. But I think it was the Cyclone on the F4F Wildcat. 14-cylinder radial, of course. 18. Okay, it's the 1830, not the 1820. Okay, so I was right on that. So, yeah. Again, just here you can see. Just look how massive the Hellcat is. That's really quite a big aircraft. In terms of armament, it was improved compared to the F4F, with the F4F usually carrying 4 machine guns, with some later variants carrying 6. However, these were sometimes removed since pilots didn't like the extra weight on the Wildcat. With the Hellcat and its more powerful engine, it was also possible to mount heavier armament and without losing too much performance. And as you can see, the Hellcat would be fitted with a standard armament of 650 caliber machine guns, while all Hellcats would also be able to swap out 2 of the machine guns, the inner ones, and replace them with 2 20mm AN/M2 cannons. However, only the dedicated F6F night fighters would carry these. Now, first taking to the sky in 1942, I think, if I remember correctly, the aircraft immediately displayed good handling and good performance. Indeed, this would become an aircraft that would remain rather unchanged from it entering production and from its combat debut until the end of the war. The general shape of the aircraft didn't change very much. It would be continuously improved with more powerful variants of the R2800 and increased weapons payload, but these were basically the most things that were changed on the F6F. And this is just pays tribute to the soundness of the general design of the plane. It really was an ingenious aircraft. Compared to its main rival, the Corsair, the Hellcat had way better deck handling capability. Its wide track also made it more easily to start and land than its predecessor. And the power reserves it gained from the big engine certainly helped in combat. When it first entered combat in late 1943, the aircraft proved a very dangerous opponent for its Japanese counterpart. In early combat, it's safe to say that Japanese pilots certainly confused this aircraft with the earlier Wildcat, performing maneuvers that would stall out Wildcats. However, the Hellcats with more powerful engine and bigger energy reserves could stay in a climb, for example, much better than the F4F, which surprised Zero pilots. And in general, the American training certainly caught up, something the Japanese never managed to do. While they had, at the start of the war, without a doubt, the most trained naval pilots in the world, they couldn't replace their losses since the selection process for Navy pilots was incredibly strict, and only very, very few what's the term? I just forgot. Oh, god damn it! As very few applicants that applied for the Navy fighter role, very few of them would actually push through and end up as fighter pilots. With the Americans, they had a more generous approach, and this would result in the US Navy having far more pilots, far more capable pilots than the Japanese would eventually have, especially since the Japanese lost a lot of their most skilled pilots and technicians during the Battle of Midway, where a lot of them perished with the sinking of 4 of Japan's most important fleet carriers. This meant that in 1943, when the Hellcat arrived, it tended to face more inexperienced pilots, and this allowed the Hellcat to play to its strength at an alarming rate. The aircraft, compared to the Zero, was faster at all altitudes. It could dive much better, attain higher dive speeds, and of course being much more rugged with its self-sealing fuel tanks and pilot armor, certainly making it much more survivable than the flimsy Zero. Moreover, it was heavily armed with 650 caliber machine guns, and, as we stated, was very docile to handle. Now, compared to the Zero again, there were of course some disadvantages. The Zero remained superior in low speed combat and could outturn the Hellcat with ease. It also climbed better at lower altitudes, while the Hellcat was able to climb slightly better at higher altitude. In general, the Hellcat's climb rate was actually not all too great, only around 13 meters per second, which, let's just say, it just isn't really good. But it's you can see it because this is a very heavy aircraft. I would need to check, but I know what does a fully laden Hellcat weigh? Like 4.5 tons, I think. Not quite sure right now. But yeah, and this would certainly even get more when the Hellcat was equipped with bombs or rockets. Something the aircraft would be equipped during the duration of World War II. It would see its use change from a pure fighter to a general fighter bomber role, something the aircraft would excel actually rather well. Yeah, but again, it was really not that good at climbing. Yeah, wait, I just lost track. Because I still can't remember what does a fully laden Hellcat weigh. I think it was more than 4 tons. I think more like 5.5. Yeah, I think 5.5 tons if I remember correctly. So yeah, this thing is really heavy compared to the very light Zero, for example. And you can see why the Zero still turns it, despite the Zero having a way less powerful engine. It also beats out the Hellcat in acceleration, at least in power to mass ratio, at least. With the Zero having, I think, 0.18, around that, 0.179. And the Hellcat only having 0.16, I think. So, yeah. However, still, the aircraft was faster, and pilots were trained accordingly. They were instructed to perform boom and zoom tactics, slashing attacks, diving down on their opponents, preferably from a higher altitude, making lightning quick attacks and then pull up again, and were instructed under all circumstances not to engage in turning dogfights with A6Ms. Starting from late 1943, the Hellcat would be deployed on almost all carrier aircraft that could handle it. Over 12,000 would be built in just under 2 years, which is actually insane if you think about it. It just shows how massive the the American economy and war machine, the building process, how intense they were, and how much resources they had. I mean, 12,000 Hellcats, and this is not the only aircraft they built during that time. I mean, in just 2 years, that's really impressive. The Hellcat would become the aircraft that would score the most kills in the Pacific Theater on the Allied side, scoring over 5,000 kills and a claimed kill-to-loss ratio of 19-1. Although it's always difficult to assess the validity of such claims, however, it's certain to say that the aircraft killed much more aircraft than itself were lost. Around 270 aircraft were lost in aerial combat, which is a very good figure actually. If you think about how many of these things were built and were put to use, and how many sorties they flew, only 270 lost in air combat certainly is a good number. One of the most important roles the aircraft would play was during the action over the Philippines in 1944, where the ensuing action would become known as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, where the Japanese fleet lost so many of their carrier-borne fighters and carrier attack aircraft. It was basically ridiculous. That's why it's known as the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot, because the Allies lost very few aircraft, and the Japanese basically lost almost all of them. basically ending the Kido Butai, the combined fleet. They would also attack targets all over the Pacific theater. When they were introduced, they would fly sorties basically everywhere the United States Navy would be deployed, not only in the fighter role, but as we said, also in the fighter bomber role, and also as a naval attack aircraft. Special versions of this aircraft were developed for radar use. These were the F6F3N and F6F5N. Both were equipped with radar domes. We have at least the F6F5 versions available here in the game in the American tree and also in the French Navy tree. Let's take a quick look. This is the F6F5N. Easily distinguishable from the regular day fighter variant by this thing. A radar pod. And another distinguishing feature, of course, being these two 20mm cannons. Again, all of the Hellcats were technically able to mount these, but only the night fighters, for whatever reason, carried them. Now, as for speaking of variants, the F6F3 that I think we don't have in game, funnily enough. Let me check. Yeah, we don't have it. This was the basic version that entered service in 1943. I think around 5,000 of these were built. The follow-on version would become the definitive one, the version we also have here in game, the F6F5. Around 7,000 of these were built. I mean, there were more than 7,000, but just to give you some very basic numbers, you know, more than 7,000 of these machines were built, and this was the main production run. Compared to the F6F3, I think one of the things that was some windows here. There was one window here that was omitted on the F6F5 because, well, it was pretty much useless. I mean, one of the biggest disadvantages of the Hellcat was its visibility to the rear. I mean, if you just look at it, this thing has basically no visibility to the rear. And it never introduced a bubble-style canopy. Which is sad, because I think it would actually kind of look good with a bubble canopy. But yeah, that would be reserved for its successor, the famous F8F Bearcat. And if you take a look at the Bearcat from the side, you can see how much it resembles the Hellcat. All of these aircraft, I mean, the F4F certainly had some inspiration on the Hellcat, and the Hellcat had inspiration for the F8F Bearcat. Whew! Well, what's more to say about this aircraft? Well, again, it flew everywhere the United States Navy operated in. It scored the most kills of any Allied aircraft in the Pacific theater, and it also produced the most aces. There were dozens of Hellcat aces. And this showed how important this aircraft just was. It was not the fastest, it certainly isn't the prettiest, it's not even the most well-armed, but it performed. And that's the most important thing. This thing could carry its pilot to hell and back. It was very rugged, it could take a lot of hits before going down, and it was easy to fly and easy to maintain. This aircraft achieved very high readiness numbers. This is one of the main reasons why it was preferred over the Corsair in the early stages of when it was first introduced in 1943, with the Corsair only coming in rather late into carrier service. And even then, the majority of aircraft operated by the Navy in the fighter role still were F6F Hellcats. The aircraft was produced until, I think, November 45, so shortly after the end of the Second World War. And it was rather quickly replaced on carriers. Most carriers after the war would equip the F6F, the F4U Corsair. Also, the F7F Tigercat came into service. And of course, the F8F Bearcat replaced a lot of the Hellcats. Still, the aircraft would continue in service. They would also be exported or given to France, which operated them in the Indochina theater with good success. Also, Uruguay and I think Paraguay also got some of these machines. And the US Navy converted a lot of them into target drones. And they would actually deploy these things via remote controls equipped with a 910 kilogram bomb beneath them. So these were some of the earliest radio-controlled drones used for actually military service, which I think is rather interesting. The abundance of the Hellcat during World War II and its low loss ratio meant that after the war, many of these were still around, and even today there are lots and lots of Hellcats in museums, and a comparatively high number are still flying. So if you are living in the US and are at warbird air shows, there's a very good chance you get to see one of these birds. Well, I think we covered most of the stuff you need to know about the Hellcat. We forgot something. Speaking of export or other users of this aircraft, the British Fleet Air Arm operated a lot of Hellcats. Well, I mean a lot. They operated them in some numbers. They were known as simply as Hellcats. First, they were intended to be named Gannets, but then for simplicity's sake, they just said, screw it, we just call them like the American name Hellcat. Oh, perfect. And here you see it, Hellcat Mark II for the F6F5. Oh wait, is this... No, this is not an F6F3, right? This isn't... See, even I can become a little bit confused. I think that is an F6F5, not an F6F3. They operated them in Norway, for example. And HMS Indomitable, I think they got around 32 kills. I think this was the most successful squadron of Hellcats deployed by the British Air Arm. In general, they did not... they weren't as successful in the European theater as in the Pacific one, since they mainly opposed land-based fighters. And while it certainly had a speed advantage over most of the Japanese aircraft, it certainly did not have a speed advantage over the Bf-109 or the FW-190. And it also... The German land-based fighters, for example, or also the Italian ones, they could match the performance much more closely or often exceed the Hellcat's performance. Especially in the vertical field. Again, we already stated this aircraft is not the best climber, but still they accounted themselves rather well. And its role in the Pacific theater certainly has earned this aircraft its place in the Hall of Fame of the most famous and most important fighter aircraft of all time. I think we really covered everything for this aircraft. Is there anything left to say? Well, just let me think about it, but I think we have all. Yeah, maybe we should mention, as a Navy aircraft, this of course has foldable wings. They could either be hydraulically or manually deployed, which is fairly typical for American Navy aircraft. I could go into, well, let's take a quick dive into it. A rather interesting topic, at least I think it's interesting, is that compare, for example, this thing to its Japanese counterpart, the Zero. Let's do it quickly, taking the A6M2. With the Zero, for example, the wingtips fold in here, at this line. Only the wingtips fold up. with the Hellcat. Oh, great. The wingtips fold up here at this line, which means the doctrine, or the doctrine of space, how hangar space was used, certainly differed in the American and the Japanese Navy, which I think is rather interesting. I think one of the reasons is also because the Zero is much smaller, so it doesn't need to fold the entire wing without using using more space than the Hellcat. I mean, yeah, the Hellcat can fold its wing up from here, but the Zero is a lot smaller also. But yeah, it still is quite interesting to see how both nations had different solutions for their problems. It's also a thing we see in their carrier design, for example. Should they ever be deployed in War Thunder, I will speak about that more, because I think this is rather interesting, with the Americans using the open hangar and the Japanese using an enclosed hangar, which both solutions having their benefits and their drawbacks. Yes, so we covered everything. I think we did. So let's take a look at the aircraft in game. Taking the basic F6F5. Let's take the British one, just for shits and giggles. The regular machine gun armed Hellcat sits at a battle rating of 3.3. This goes both for the British one, the American one, and also the French one. And I think does the French one get both? Yeah, they also get both the F6F5 and the 5N. The 5N variants with the 20mm cannons, and I think they also have more powerful engines, they sit one battle rating higher at 4.3, but of course are better armed. All of these aircraft can carry bombs and rockets, which I'd say in ARB they are more of a secondary role. This is mainly a fighter. You can use the fighter bomber role decently, certainly much better than any of the other aircraft we covered so far on my channel, but this is weaponry more used for tank RB. I think you can equip 1,000-pound bombs, HVAR rockets. Wait, this thing can even carry a torpedo? Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know okay, that's something I actually didn't know. I didn't know Hellcats could carry torpedoes. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. Seems I need to do a little bit more research, because that was something I didn't know. Yeah, okay, so you can carry in a torpedo. Oh. Yes, but the secondary armament is more for tank RB mode when you want to go for ground targets. Or, well, if you want to deploy this thing in a more historical context in naval battles, yeah, you can do it as well. Oh, and it can also carry tiny TIMs. This is an anti-ship rocket, and it's absolutely massive. Just look at this thing, wow. These were deployed, I think, rather late in the war. And just look at, I mean, they are absolutely massive rockets. But they are pretty cool. And they pack a very large warhead. Yeah. Let's get back to the aircraft game. I always tend to get sidetracked. Why is that? Well, probably because I'm an ADD kid. Here in game, the thing has a top speed of 647 kilometers per hour. I think in real life it was 630 for the F6F5 and 612 for the F6F3. So yeah, maybe some of the sources are give different numbers. Anyways, the climbing rate is accurate, 12.6 meters. Yeah, 13 meters in real life. It's close enough. Turning time, I never trust the stat card in that thing. The aircraft has a wing loading of 184 kilograms per square meter, so similarly to a Bf-109, but I'd say it doesn't keep its energy as well as a 109. Repair costs for the F6F5. We have repair costs of 2,135, which is pretty cheap. Wonder are they different? Yeah, they actually differ from the British one, not by much, but it differs. For the F6F5N, for the version with the 20 mils, for the Night Fighter variant, it's almost double that, almost 4,000, which is still acceptable, I'd say. We already took a look at the armament. Let's see for the performance, for the modifications. This is a big and heavy machine. You want to get the performance mods as quickly as possible. All this stuff, get this first. This. Also the 12mm. I mean, the stock belts are perfectly fine. So you can, if you want to use this thing in ground battles, yeah, go for this stuff. But still, I'd say get these performance mods first. Also, the survivability mods, they also add in for the performance a little bit. But yeah, from left to right, I'd say, except if you want to use this thing in ground battles, then yeah, get these first or second, as your second priority. As for belts, they are pretty much. I've heard the ground target belts are the best, but from my experience, they are all pretty much the same. None of these carry explosive rounds, so yeah. I like to use these stealth belts personally because with the amount of firepower this thing has, and the amount of guns it has, it's good to basically snipe up on your enemy. This thing, the M2 Browning, the M2 Browning, sorry, is a very good weapon for sniping. It has high muzzle velocity. The bullets keep their energy rather well. It's a good sniper gun. So yeah, what kind of ammunition you use? Yeah, I personally tend to the stealth belts, but whatever you use is up to your liking. So yeah, no recommendations there. Let's take a quick look at the modules. The engine, 18-cylinder R2800. Here, the machine guns, of course, all centered in the wing. Convergence-wise, I have mine set to 700 meters because I like to engage with these from longer ranges. But again, this is personal preference. You can also set them to 300 to 400 if you like. If you like to get more in close with this aircraft, certainly personal preference. We have here fuel tanks. As you can see, all of them are self-sealing. They are also all mounted near the fuselage. So the wings are only laden with the machine guns and their ammo. Yes, as for pilot protection, we took a quick look over it earlier, but here 6.35 millimeters for the back, for the headrest and the back plate, 38 millimeter bulletproof glass, and some 3 millimeter steel plates around the engine and the cowling. In terms of the thickness, it's not the strongest, I have to say. There are planes with much more armor, but for a fighter this is certainly enough, and it certainly helps you protect your pilot. Yes, I think that's for the aircraft in game. Let's take a quick test flight with this aircraft and get you up to speed, should we say, on how to aircraft. Oh God. Seriously, something's wrong with me today. I mean, English is not my first language. I'm a German after all, but still. Oh, and just we have the missiles. You see, we have the rockets equipped. So yeah. So I might be able to showcase these. There are no sea targets. Because the Tiny Team was developed. Its main use was to be as a rocket for anti-ship use. What the hell is? Oh, okay. Didn't know they had already implemented the battleship models from naval into this into the test flight thingy. Well, you can see the aircraft's acceleration is not the very best, and even without the rockets on, it isn't. This thing is a little bit wonky. It does not like going slow. It will remain rather stable, but don't expect wonders with this thing at low speed. You want to keep this thing as high speed as possible, which means you want to avoid prolonged turning engagements. You want to fight your dogfights in the vertical playing field. In general, I'd say it's more of a boom and zoomer than an energy fighter, but it does keep its energy rather well at very high speeds, which means if you pull out of dive, it will hold the speed pretty decently. Yeah, any sort of harder maneuver will certainly bleed at airspeed. I mean, which is, again, this is an aircraft that weighs, it has a gross weight of 5.7 tons, so it's to be expected. And despite the engine being powerful, it's a powerful engine on a big and heavy plane. You know what, let's take a quick shot with these rockets. I never managed to really master these things. I also very rarely use them. Boom. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's demonstrate some things. The roll rate of the Hellcat, like in real life, is decent. Not bad at all. This thing could, and can also in game, perform decent rolling maneuvers. Oh wait, and the rockets are already reloading at, okay, rather shortly. Its maneuverability, 184 kilograms per square meter. It's not the best, but also not bad. But however, as I said, you don't really want to do prolonged turning engagements because you will lose your energy rather quickly. That said, it's a pretty precise aircraft. You can easily aim this thing. Also because thanks to the to the good roll rate, it's very good in the dive, especially at 3.3. This thing dives incredibly well. And as you can see here, it does hold the speed decently. Huh. Can we see the impact? Oh. Yes. See, I get so easily distracted. As you can see, as I said, it holds the speed decently at low speeds. It feels much more at home at higher altitudes. I would say 4,000 to 6,000 meters. So mid altitude, this thing is, yeah, I think it's the best at this kind of height. Also, you want to climb as high as possible with the aircraft's bad climb performance. You want to get up high as soon as possible and set yourself up for boom and zoom maneuvers, which means you basically dive down on your opponent, get some shots in, and then pull up. Maintaining your altitude is one of the most important things in this aircraft. God, I just love the launch sequence of these things. So, also as we stated, convergence-wise, I've set mine to 700 meters because this is a good sniper weapon, the AN-M2 Browning. The same pretty much goes for the AN-M2 machine cannon. Yeah. Anything else? Yes. Pilots who want to fly this thing in simulator, or for whatever reason, want to fly it from cockpit view only, prepare yourself for no visibility to the rear. Again, one of the biggest disadvantages of the F6F Hellcat. So let's perform one last dive. It rips at around. You can go over 800 kilometers with this thing. So again, for 3.3, this is pretty good. Oh, that's just gonna hit, is it? Whee! Yeah, 700 kilometers, easy peasy, and you can pull out of the dive rather easily. It is very easy to control. The roll rate stiffens up a little bit, but not too bad. And the aircraft you face at this kind of BR, you can also fly it as an energy fighter. However, I much prefer it as a pure boom and zoomer, or basically just get shot in and then plow straight through and get some distance to your enemy, loop around and make another go. That's at least my preferred tactic with the F6F Hellcat. Yeah, that should be it. Oh well, let's do a quick test of the maneuverability. As you can see, this thing does lose speed in a prolonged turn. It's not the worst, but the aircraft's strength, let's just put it this way, the aircraft's strength lies much more in the vertical field. So, that said, I'd say let's get this thing up and ready and head into our first match with the famous F6F Hellcat. So, on Bourbon Island, a map I generally dislike, but it seems we have found ourselves in a down here with the F6F Hellcat, the British version. This is one of the first premium aircraft I owned, actually, because until 2018 I never bought any premium aircraft. All of them I had, I earned them. Until I decided, you know, some of the really great aircraft I certainly want to have, just not gonna earn them because it's impossible. Some of them were in bundles, and the only event when you could get these things bundled aircraft was, I think, the Indian Summer event, from which I got my Typhoon Mark 1B. And I think this was the second one I got from an event, the British Hellcat. I haven't flown it that often, to be honest. I'm generally not a fan of the Hellcat. I don't like flying it. Why did I choose it then for this video? I have no idea. Maybe because it's an aircraft I want to be good in, because its reputation is... this is one of the greatest fighters of World War II. It's said to be the aircraft that basically won the Allies the air superiority in the Pacific. So I want this aircraft to be good, but... I want to be good at it because it does have such historical significance, but I'm just not the type for flying it. It seems this thing doesn't fit my playstyle. And it's also kind of funny how the Zeros, the aircraft this thing was supposed to be so much superior to, which it kind of was in the way this thing was intended to operate. But even the first Zero is, I think, at the same BR as this one, and all the later Zeros are way up higher in BR than the Hellcat, which I think is kind of funny. So, anyways, again, this so I'm basically here with an aircraft I don't like flying on a map I don't like flying at. Why I don't like this map? I don't know, it just feels so huge, and nah. I don't like maps that are ginormous, because it takes forever to get into action. Well, as you can see, the Hellcat does not have the best climb rate. But it is well armed for 3.3. 6 heavy machine guns, a ton of ammunition for it. It's not... it's quite fast. Very good in the dive. Its maneuverability is average at best. And generally you should only turn this thing at high speed. And to be honest, I don't really think this is a very beautiful aircraft. Yeah, sorry Americans, but eh. I kind of like aircraft that look like it looks powerful, you know, with this big chubby fuselage. But there are aircraft that can pull this sort of look off and still look elegant, like the P-47 or the J2M Raiden. But this thing, nah. Maybe it would look different if it got a bubble canopy. That would certainly look much better. Because visibility to the rear in the Hellcat is terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. Just wow. Well, enough of the shit talking. Let's get some kills. There's this HE-111H, an easy target for the Hellcat. But the course is going as well as a P-36. Should we follow? I'm not quite sure. There are some fighters coming in from there. I saw them earlier. Question is, do we have the time to get to back to altitude? I say we have. So let's engage. Full speed. We are building up as much energy as possible to convert it back to altitude. This guy is missing half a wing? I don't know. Credit. Got him. Quick and easy kill. There's a BF-110 coming in. So let's loop around. Flaps deployed for a quick yo-yo. Wait, this is not a yo-yo maneuver. Anyways, BF-110, easy target as well. Oh, especially if you're flying like this. Kill number 2. Let's keep an eye on R6. There's a BF-109. Who's in all kind of trouble. Against 2 Corsairs. I mean, oof. Not the best situation you found yourself in there, buddy. And now... Oh, is he going head on? Yeah, of course he's going head on. Can't believe he survived that. Oh, he might get it. Oh, yeah. Again, 1 versus 1. A B-109 can certainly is, I'd say, superior compared to a Corsair. And there's kill number 3. Boom and zoom, boom and zoom. This is what this aircraft is made for. Only engage in turning maneuvers at high speeds, because at low speed this thing is not gonna cut it. But at high speed, actually, this thing is very, very stable and turns pretty good. Yep, okay. C202 is down. Engines overheating. Let's take care of that. Reducing power about 10%. And keep this aircraft in a slight climb. Okay, map is looking fine. We are winning. Only 2 aircraft left. We are top of the leaderboard. Oh, 3 aircraft left. We are top of the leaderboard. There's an FW-119 aircraft pretty similar to us. Would like to engage that. I'd like to dogfight with this guy. Because that would be rather interesting. 190 with even worse turning capabilities than the Hellcat, but with... I think it has superior power to weight ratio, I'm not quite sure. It certainly is faster. And better armed. So that would be quite an interesting dogfight, I think. Yeah, but I think this guy's dead. He has a Mustang and a P-38 on his tail. I don't know where the rest of these guys are. Yep, the P-38 got him. Maybe we can get some quick ground target kills in as well. Certainly won't think this aircraft was... Oh! It's a Yak-1. Now this will be tricky. We can dive better than him, but he's way more maneuverable. Well, that said, this aircraft does have a decent roll rate. Oh, wow, and he got him. And, oh, I really thought they're gonna ram. Oh, no. Evade that. Immediately turn inside him. And... ah, only a hit. But he's occupied. Okay. That's the kill of the P-38. Let's follow him if he puts the fire out. Yeah, okay. We're not a kill-stealing lowlife. Well then, let's get some quick ground targets. There's only a bomber left. I think the Corsair has the same idea, and he is quite a bit faster than us. But he can't get all of them. God, we wasted a lot of ammunition for one ground kill. Oh, it's I can't believe he survived this long. That's actually pretty amazing. Come on, let's gun the engine. We need this altitude. Ah, sadly missed it, but yeah, let's cool the engine down. This is... Anti-FOU got him. Oh, P-38 has got the most kill. Not bad at all. So much for the first match with the F6F Hellcat. I haven't flown this thing in ages, so certainly not not a bad first match. So, and the next round with the F6F Hellcat, this time flying it as it should be in her Pacific outfit. This is one of the aircraft I haven't flown in years. I mean, this specific version of the F6F. It still has the decals on that I put on it back then in my old arcade days. My L2, not going for that. Let's tango with the... oh, we're against the Japanese and the Soviets. Now this will be interesting, certainly. MiG-3 and a Key 45. Oh, the MiG-3s are at their optimal altitude. So I don't think I should engage these guys. MiG-1s are great at high... MiG-3s are good at high altitude. They suck down low. Like in real life. There's something coming in. What is it? A Yak 7. Should be able to evade this guy though. Come on, speed, speed, speed. One thing I know is that these Russian fighters, they cannot dive to high speeds, or they will rip themselves apart. Yeah. Oh, and we're heading for the NC223.3. Oh god, what a name is that anyway? And just look how the Hellcat goes. Look how it keeps its speed. And kill number 2. Putting the Hellcat into a shallow climb. Now into a full climb. We want to get the max altitude possible. There's a DB3, see it in the back. Could engage that. So 1 bomber and fighter kill for now. Let's see if we can make this 3 or possibly more kills. There are no shortage of targets. The team is doing fine. It's even, more or less. I think. Oh well, we are. I think we're winning. Just from the number of aircraft we've lost and they have lost. We only lost 3. They have lost several more. So. Oh, there's the X7 from earlier, I think. Or was it this guy? I don't know. Yeah, the X7 is one of these aircraft I want to do a video on as well. Because I think it's one of these aircraft, both in the game and historically, that gets generally overlooked, even though it shouldn't. This thing was, when it arrived, one of the few things that could tango with a BF-109 on more or less equal terms. Should I go for it? I don't know. Let's wait if... Okay, he's still up. Let's make that pass. Come on, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up! And oh, you beauty! I was afraid I was going into there a little bit too hot. Yep, and let's... Okay. Everything looks... There. There was something, I saw it. Where is it? Ah, it's one of those MiG-3. 3 fighters left, we have 3 kills. Not bad, not bad, not bad. I'd like to get some more, however. Doubt we'll get the MiG-3. There's a DB3 left, I think. Let's head towards their base. And see what we can do. We have plenty of ammunition left. Almost 1200 rounds. And keep scanning the sky. Ah, see? See? If this guy would have gotten a drop on me, I would be dead. Always scan your surroundings when you can. Yeah, and again, just the cockpit. It's just one thing that bugs me about on the Hellcat. Why is the cockpit so restricted? I mean, the view to the back is just bad. And this is an aircraft that entered service in, what, 1943? Kind of want to find the DB3. If he isn't dead, but I don't think he is. He was back here earlier. Let's check the enemy base. Maybe he's there. Could assist the P40 if necessary. I don't think we will have any problems with a MiG-3. I mean, yeah, MiG-3 is at lower altitude, so... Alright, he is running. P40 is not the fastest, but so is the MiG-3, so... Maybe I should do a video about on the MiG-3 as well. one of those machines that again gets overlooked most of the time. But I would need to do a lot of research because I don't know anything about the Make-3 other than it basically getting slaughtered by B-109s and was retired before the war even ended. What happened there? Was this... Oh, we're in the airfield. Okay. Need to be very careful here. I want to make a quick pass on the... No, I don't want to make a quick pass. Let's head away. Let's head away. There's a DB3. I knew I saw him earlier there. Ah, come on, Flag, leave me alone. I mean, I could just dogfight the Key 45, but he's so close to their base, it will be dangerous. Let's go for the DB3. He was somewhere here, I think, was he? Come on, bro, where are you? Ah, there he is. Perfect. And we're closing in. Slow but surely. Let's call him out. Oh, there's a P-39 coming in as well. Oh no. Yeah, buddy. Let's see who gets the kill first. I hope it's me. I desperately want these 4 kills. Oh no, I need to get the kill because if he does, then he will have just as many kills as I have. Oh no, we don't want that. We don't want that. Come on, Hellcat. Cool the engine down. Perfect. Oh, I'm gonna take that kill. Come on. Again, one thing about the Hellcat, it's good in the dive. Oh, I was about to say it's not that fast, but in the dive it keeps its speed rather well, but so does the P-39. And we hit him. Yes, we got him. A little bit messy, and we basically used up most of our ammunition, but worth it. Worth it in the end. There's the Key 45 coming, and we do... I think we should... If we get a good shot in, we should be able to set him ablaze. Key 45s catch fire rather easily, I think. The safest way would be to go back to base, but by the time we're there, the match will most likely have ended, I think. Should we try it? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? If not, we'll just put the nose down and make use of the Hellcat's great diving capabilities. We do have the support of the P39, do we? Yes, we have, more or less. And the P51, so... let's try to put those 384 rounds to good use. Now, where's the MiG? Can't find him. And there's a Toriju. There's the MiG. I don't want to engage this guy in a head-on. Oh wait. Is he? No, he's not. Good. I mean, I could just head this guy on. I have way better firepower. Yep. Nope. Let's extend. Climb above him. No, he's not even wanting to engage, okay. Oh, we need to keep an eye on Toriju. Where's the P51? Okay, now he's... okay, let's dive away. Maybe we can make him... ah, this guy is playing it cleverly. Where's that Mustang? Did Toriju shoot him down? Huh. I think he had... no, the Mustang is alive. Okay, let's lure him in. Maybe we can... oh, okay, what was I about to say? Maybe we can make him an easy target for the P39 there. Oh, and I think he got him critical. Oh, why is he breaking off, though? Ah. I think that should be it for him. That would be funny if he just shot him down with his back gunner, but yeah. Well done to the P39. Let's engage the MiG-3. Oh, I'm dangerously low on fuel, so we need to make this quick. I bet they're going head on. And the P39 is going to win. Oh, that was unexpected. That was certainly unexpected. Wait, oh, we also have a BU-109 left. Well, what are these? Okay. Yeah, there's nothing I can do right here. I need to get more fuel. So let's head back to base. And the MiG-3 is coming in. There might be a chance for an epic reversal. Let's lure him in further. Is he following? Yes, he is. Come on, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. Ah, too bad. He's breaking off. Yeah, 2 minutes left. We definitely need more ammunition. Oh, we're coming in a little bit hot here. Whee!
Weiter so, dann ist der Sieg unser.
And the P51 is down now. Oh, wait a second. I know what I can do. Let's equip some bombs. Beautiful. I mean, we will win this anyway by points. 1 minute 10. Ah, too bad. Would have loved to get some more ground kills in. And that's game. A nice 4-kill match. Yeah, that's alright. Oh. That guy also played very good. That was the P-39 pilot, I think. Yeah. Ah, and we are in the next match with the British Hellcat. Why am I keep flying out this one? I don't know. Maybe it's because of premium. And because I like the color scheme more. And just basic navy blue gets boring after some time, and this one at least offers some variety. Also because this is one of the first premium aircraft I earned. We are in a pretty good position. I think this is a down tier, and we are at high altitude, so we can dictate the engagements. Question is what? I'm kind of surprised that IL-2 is at such high altitude. Let's see what we should engage first. I'm not quite sure yet. There's the X7. 3 possible targets there. Don't want to dive after them already, however. Come on, Helldiver, pull up. The Helldiver is one hell of a strong aircraft, but against 3? Oof. Ah, you know what? Screw it. Let's go down and involve ourselves in that battle. Yeehaw! Leroy Jenkins! God, that was cringy, wasn't it? B-18's first? Or is it? Well, maybe the IL-2 is looking pretty juicy. Yep, we need... Come on. Yes. And this thing does dive very well, but, we don't want to overstress the airframe. And let's... Should have picked the stealth ammunition. Man, that thing takes a lot of hits. Let's bleed his energy. It's an IL-2. He doesn't have much energy in the first place. Yeah. It's already...
Der Feind fliegt. Gegenangriff. Jetzt.
Got him. 3 B-18s. Let's go for the one that isn't near the airfield. Oh, wait. What is that? P-36. We should be able to outrun that. Yeah, easy. Didn't even see this guy coming in. Speed of the Hellcat certainly saved me there. Well, that's what I mean. Just keep maintaining situational awareness. It's not that easy. Even I sometimes lack it. Ow! Was that flag? Oh. Oh, J-22 crashed. Well, we could head the P-36 on. You know what? This thing certainly does turn better than we do, but we have a lot more firepower. Let's make a quick... Okay, we don't need to go head on. Yep. And let's switch from the AA roll to a ground attacker mode. With the amount of firepower we have and ammunition loadout,
Wir müssen dem Feind
no problem for the Hellcat. I should have set my convergence to a little bit closer than I have. I think I have it set at 700 meters. With 50 cals you can afford to do some long range sniping. Oh, I think those are the 2 B-18s that are still left, aren't they? There's one coming in. 483 rounds should be enough to get at least one more kill. Maybe even 2 if I can snipe the enemy pilot. I think to see the other one as well. Yep, 2 B-18s. Whew, let's try this. We are already top of the leaderboard. One is heading back. Oh no. How close are they? Got one. A little bit too close for comfort there. How close are they? 3.6. Nope. Is he landing? Maybe he is. I think he is. Alright. Oh wait, he isn't. The hell? Let's see if we can make ace in the F6F. Come on. Yeah, buddy. You're not outturning me.
Wir stehen kurz vor dem Sieg.
Problem is I don't have the ammunition to kill this guy. Nope. Let's try to lure him next to our... Oh, bloody hell. Oh, I thought the P-49 would be coming in. I mean, it's... I mean, we still outrunning him. What the hell? Why is the P... I don't know what. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it was a little bit derpy. I mean,
Weiter so, alle. Dann ist der Sieg
a little bit embarrassing to be honest, but well, we survived against the bomber. Oh god, we definitely need some retribution right now. So I hope this guy won't just jay out, because I'm gonna come for him. Oh. Let's just gun the engine. Easy putting it down. Oh, that's quite a long repair. Whew, and we have rearmed. Let's see. Oh my god. P-49 is having a head start. I think at this altitude he's also faster than us. P-39 of course only having I think a single stage supercharger, which means it's pretty decent at low altitude, but sucks at higher altitudes. Which is one of the reasons why the Soviets liked this thing, because it offered good low altitude performance. Anyways, but I don't know why, but every time I play, I keep talking about the other aircraft that are in the match instead of the one that I'm actually flying. Please excuse that. I mean, I'm just a sucker for aircraft. I mean, there are so many aircraft I want to make videos on, and there's only so much time I have every day. Let's hope the P-39 is going for ground targets, because I want revenge on that B-18. And by God, I'm gonna get it if the P-39 doesn't do it first. Come on, please, please, please. Oh yeah, boy. Here's Johnny. Here comes the fucking paint train. Oh, what a beautiful deflection shot. And 5 kills. Hell yeah. Can I get a hell yeah for the Hellcat? Yeah, that's ace. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And of course, as being a premium aircraft, let's see how many rewards we get. Oh, not bad. Not bad at all. Would you look at that? That's a decent amount of rewards for an aircraft with such low repair costs. Yeah, max 2,200. That's a pretty good earning. Yeah. Oh, the team did actually rather well. There are a lot of guys that got kills, so well done to them as well. Yes, great. So, for the conclusion of the to the F6F Hellcat, what should I say about this thing? It's not a bad aircraft, not at all. I mean, you saw how it handled. I personally just don't like flying it all too much. It just doesn't favor my style of aerial combat. For the pure boom and zoomer, this is a great aircraft. A great starter because it's at 3.3, so which I think is funny because this thing was intended to counter the A6M0. However, it sits below all the zeros in battle rating except for the very entry zero, the A6M2. So yeah, I think this is rather funny. I think it's due to the fact that, first of all, its climb rate is not that good. Most combat in Warfare takes place at lower altitudes, and I think that a lot of people don't know how to fly this thing. They think, okay, this thing was better than the Zero. It must completely outclass it, and then they get a very nasty surprise once they start turning the Zero, and the Zero just latches onto them and shoots them down. That's the only thing I can come up with. Yeah. But for people who know what they're doing, people who want to fly a boom and zoomer, this thing is good. This thing is a good aircraft. It's a solid performer. If you get the premium one of the British Tech Tree, it's also a solid moneymaker. It's easy to handle. It's rather easy to master once you truly understand the nature of this aircraft. That this is not a dogfighter. It can dogfight, but you shouldn't rely on it. The strengths of this aircraft lie in the good dive performance and the energy it can build from a dive and the heavy armament. use these to your advantage, and you will have an aircraft that will reward you with a lot of kills and will be a solid companion for your experiences through the early battle ratings. Yeah, that's all I can say about the Hellcat. A generally good performing aircraft, just not really my kind of play style, I'd say. That said, I didn't expect it to have that much fun with it, and I think I will fly it more often because I want to get a hang for it. This is historically such an important aircraft. I want to take it out more often. But yeah, it also pretty much provides you with early experience for most of the American tech tree. The American planes, with some exceptions, are all very, very good boom and zoomers. You have the P-38, which is an exclusive boom and zoomer. You don't want to dogfight with this thing at all. Just go in high speed, bam bam, shoot your enemy and get out. The P-51, also more of a all-rounder, but certainly excelling in the boom and zoomer role. The P-47, a pure boom and zoomer. And yeah, so these are some of the most important aircraft on your journey through the American World War II tech tree. So it certainly manages to prepare you for the kind of playstyle you will have to employ with the American aircraft. Yeah, I think that's enough said. This review has gone rather long. Yeah, that's it for the F6F Hellcat. A good fighter, a very solid aircraft. I certainly would recommend this thing. So, that's about it, and I'd say I'll see you in the next review. Bye!